The Steam Northern Hemisphere summer sale is in full swing, and in this video I wanted to take you through some of my key highlights from the sale, highlighting games from a variety of genres, but of course with a focus on what we do best, and starting off with an absolute headline banger of a deal. If you don't have it already, you should probably pick up Sid Meier's Civilization 6. The anthology bundle is at a brilliant price, some 86% off. But even if you're relatively new to the franchise, just picking up the base version of Civ 6 here for what is likely to be about $10 is a brilliant buy. It's by far and away widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, 4X historical strategy game of all time by a lot of people. You can also see some pretty reasonable discounts on its DLC. If you're interested, I would recommend that you pick up at least the Gathering Storm DLC. Next, where strategy meets open world survival, and I have to say, pretty fantastic online co-op mode. I had a lot of fun with this when it first came out. It's Valheim, and it's debuting here at a reasonably good special. In fact, I think it's the best it's ever had. At 30% off on Steam, you can pick up Valheim for around $12. It's really a must-buy for me if you're into this genre. It is a survival game, but it has strong elements of crafting, of building as well. You can see here some of the fantastic things that people are able to do in this game. It's much more than just sort of a procedurally generated, purgatory-inspired Viking culture adventure. It offers a lot. Land, sea, mythical beasts, you name it, it's got it. It's a very fun and enjoyable experience. Civilization fans, I have better news for you. The overwhelmingly positively reviewed Civilization 5, well, it's slightly good news. You can pick up the DLC at a wonderful 75% off discount. So if you own the base game of Civilization 5 and you don't yet own the DLC, which for this game I recommend you absolutely should buy, now's a great opportunity to pick it up at a really, really reasonable, around sort of $6 or $7 price tag. Civilization 5 is a fantastic 4X historical strategy game, still to this day remains in my top 2 favorites personally, and unfortunately the base game, they just refuse to put it on special. However, they've at least given us some cheaper DLC this time. So, go out and grab that if you don't already have it. I would strongly recommend. The final cut of Disco Elysium is on special, and this game has won so many awards and Game of the Years, and just people cannot stop raving about this RPG, where you interrogate, quote, unforgettable characters, crack murders, and take bribes, becoming a hero or an absolute disaster of a human being. I have to admit, this is one that I still have to properly delve into. I have not yet. I've watched people play it, I've heard people play it, and my god, it seems fun. It's an RPG game where choices matter. It's a story-rich experience. I think at 65% off, I'm going to pick it up. It's around $13. Can't really go wrong. Regular viewers of my channel will be thrilled to know that Dune Spice Wars, which released in early access a couple of months ago on the 27th of April, developed by Shadow Games, is on special, 20% off. It's a really good early access release, harking back to some of the original real-time strategy, 4X strategy elements here as well, and developed by the developers of Northgard, Shadow Games. I'm a big fan of the work that they do, and Dune Spice Wars does not disappoint. It is a fantastic game, a real-time strategy game, inspired, of course, by the world of Dune, heavily so, and it's just launched with multiplayer. Moreover, their roadmap is incredibly ambitious for how they plan to develop this game through its early access period, and I can say so far, I've put a lot of hours into this game, and I've also followed the development of it very closely, and I'm very impressed. This is not an early access game that is waiting on the sidelines for people to buy it so that it can just stumble through. This is one that receives a lot of love, a lot of tender love and care, and I would highly recommend to any real-time strategy game fans, and especially any Dune fans, that they pick up Dune Spice Wars. Although I would note, I went into it with no knowledge of the Dune universe whatsoever, and had a perfectly enjoyable fun time with it, so I would highly recommend. What's probably the world's most popular space grand strategy game, and I think rightly so, Stellaris. It's on special, 75% off. I've covered this one a few times already in previous videos, so I won't dwell on it for too long here. What you need to know is, if you like 4X, if you like grand strategy, because Stellaris is very grand, from its politics, to its military, to its ship design, and everything in between, the world generation, the planets, building cities, improvements, characters, you name it, it's got it. Stellaris is a brilliant grand strategy game, and at 75% off, again, you're looking at around $12 US. You can't complain. I should also note that there are a few different versions and iterations available, and while some of the DLC packs aren't on special, some of them are. You can see that you can get discounts of around 40%, and for a DLC pack, particularly like Federations, I think that's a pretty good price. If chill city building is more of your mind and traffic management is what you like to do when you wake up in the morning, then you'll very much enjoy City Skylines. This game is just brilliant. It released a long time ago in 2015. My god, I feel old. But it's an incredibly enjoyable experience. It continues to be updated as well. It has that wonderful paradox effect of just receiving more content, good content. It has a brilliant modding scene as well, so if you don't want to open up your wallet to get extra content, don't fear. It's all there. The base game itself is below $10 US. I mean, go out and grab it if you haven't already. It is available on console and other platforms as well now these days too, so you might have other options available to you that you might prefer. And I should note as well, loads of content is available for this game. It would take me too long to delve into every single one, but I would say that by and large, the user reviews are actually fairly reflective of what's good value here. You can see that people, for example, quite like the Campus DLC. They're not so keen on Sunset Harbor. Broadly speaking, you can't really go wrong with picking up the DLC, but it does have a great modding scene, so if you don't already have City Skylines and you like building cities, you're going to like this game. Deep Rock Galactic is a game that I've heard a lot about from some of the moderators on our channel, actually, who played this game a great deal. It's received overwhelmingly positive reviews over all time. It's kind of, to me, like a cross between, say, a Borderlands type experience with other sort of procedurally generated roguelike kind of action elements built into it as well. It is a 1 to 4 player co-op first-person shooter featuring, quote, badass space dwarves, 100% destructible environments, and procedurally generated caves and endless hordes of alien monsters. It seems to be a really enjoyable experience, and at 67% off, it's a very cheap one at $10 US. Diving deep into the strategy genre, Mohawk Games' Old World, which recently released on Steam, but a month or two ago, having released around a year earlier on other platforms, is here, and it's got a 20% off discount. Not a bad price for Old World. In fact, it's probably the best we've seen, at least on Steam, of course, and I can highly recommend it. Old World is a deep and more complicated strategy game that sort of blurs the dynastic sort of character creation and development of something like Crusader Kings with a more traditional 4X experience like Civilization V. It captures a very interesting, nuanced balance where each turn is 1 year, and you might live through maybe 3 different rulers throughout your family dynasty, if you're lucky, potentially more than that. It's an enjoyable 4X experience, it has a lot of depth to it, and the more time you spend with it, I think the more you'll enjoy it. Old World is 20% off, not bad. The other more recent addition to the 4X genre is, of course, Humankind. Now nearly 1 year old, though maybe more recent is a little out of date. Humankind is 33% off at the moment, which is, again, first equal for the best special that we've seen on Humankind to date. It's a pretty good price to pick it up. I am, shamelessly, and I will not deny, a massive fan of Humankind, despite its somewhat mixed perception. I think the game's come a long way as well over the last year, particularly with the most recent Bolivar update that delivered sweeping changes to the military system, the combat system, and the overall sort of balance and aesthetics of the game have been tweaked a lot over the last year as well. I like Humankind a great deal, so much so that the team at Amplitude have actually given me a link in the description that you can buy it through and give a little creator kickback to me. But that's not what this video is about. I just thought I would mention it here in case you're in the market to pick up Humankind at what is a reasonably effective 33% off discount. If you're looking for a slightly cheaper, more chill experience that will still keep you guessing and thinking, you might want to take a look at Dorfromantik. It's a, quote, peaceful building puzzle strategy game. And it's a very enjoyable one at that. You can see it playing out on screen here. Kind of a Tetris-like element to tile placement and adjacencies and just building that perfect little city. It is a slower paced game. It is a peaceful game. A relatively cheap one at around $10 on a 20% off discount. It has been overwhelmingly positively reviewed as well. It's a really enjoyable user experience. It fits the bill perfectly. And if you're looking for something a bit more chill to relax with, I can highly recommend it. And boy oh boy, do Paradox love a 75% off discount, because here's another one. Hearts of Iron 4. This time, taking a look at what is probably one of the best World War II simulation games of all time. Again, it's a grand strategy title where you control really impressive forces that you develop and build, supply, and calculate their logistics for across land, air, and sea. And it does a brilliant job at all of those. More importantly, though, you can play as any nation in the world at the time. And they each, or at least a lot of them, have their own unique political trees, developments, and all of those kinds of things. It helps to make Hearts of Iron 4 one of the best and most fitting games. For the title of Grand Strategy, and it's 75% off, it's hard to not suggest picking it up, although it's important to note that there are a lot of DLCs and upgrades that add a lot of those unique political trees and so on and so forth. So you may need to subscribe to them or pick up a few of those DLC packs. I'd recommend picking up the ones that you feel most akin to and like the most in history. Slay the Spire is a overwhelmingly positively reviewed, and I think for good reason, combination of sort of a roguelike game with a deck builder. It's neat. Honestly, it is really, really fun. You can play it on Switch as well, or mobile, I think, but even on Steam, it's a pretty enjoyable experience. As you can sort of see and gather on screen, essentially you build together a deck of cards and abilities, encountering odd creatures and sort of using those cards and abilities to fight them as you work through that very sort of roguelike element of building up and building up and building up your way through the game. It's an incredibly cheap game at 66% off as well. Honestly, this for me is a no-brainer, especially if you're into card games, roguelikes, or even just sort of more broadly kind of card battler type games. I think you'll enjoy Slay the Spire. And last but not least, an honorable mention because I think it's a particularly good special for Monster Hunter Rise. This is an action online co-op RPG, JRPG, at that. And at 50% off, I thought I would include it here. Full disclosure, I don't have any experience with it myself, apart from watching others play it and reviews and that kind of thing. I haven't actually played it myself, but I wanted to include it at the end because I think it's a particularly noteworthy special on a relatively new, very positively reviewed game that slightly fits with the rest of the theme of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you get to go out and experience at least a few of these wonderful Steam Summer Sale deals. And I'll see you in the next one.